Hello. Hello, Instagram. It's the gathering room. And I have gathered. Oh, and now other people have gathered already. Hi. Hello, Kathleen. How how are you, Babbles? And 14 others. If your name is 14 others, you are here. Hi, Babba's girl. Hello. Hi, Laura. Let's see who's here on Facebook. Can't see any yet. Hi, Marnie. Hi, Melanie. Hi, Dawn. Where are our Facebook people? I never know how to run the Facebook week after week. Esther and Jenny. Hi, and back from the borderline. Oh, I'm with you there. Um, let's just see. Oh, it's Anne Corinne from Lilyhammer as usual. Cleo is there, and Victoria and Lydia and Vale. And the Midas Touch. Oh, yeah. And Liesel and Numi and Katrina and Julianne and Sandra. Oh, it's so great to see everybody. Back here on the gathering room. This is kind of, this is called Your Forever Home, this version of the gathering room, because I love the image that, excuse me, I'm fixing my Facebook. I love the image of pets that go into shelters and they're homeless on the streets, and then people come and maybe they get fostered for a while, or even more poignantly, children may get fostered for a while, kicked around from foster home to foster home, and then one day, if they're lucky, every foster child dreams that somebody's going to adopt them and they will have a forever home. And that always, whenever I see those words online, in a book, on the television, I tear up hard, because home is a concept that really eluded me for a lot of my life. I think like 3 of my books end with the word home. Like everything is about bringing it back home, because I never really felt like I was home. And it's gotten a lot better in recent years, but I have to say, hang on, I'm going to move this up because I can't see the top of my head. Yeah. So lately I was traveling. It's like we can travel again, which is like, yay. And yet, it reminded me, I'm a homebody. I actually, whatever the evils of the pandemic wrought, it sure let us homebodies stay home, didn't it? And I had a wonderful time just being home with my loved ones and with you guys. I mean, it wasn't like I didn't get to gather with my best friends every week. So I was great. And then people started asking me to travel places. And I remembered what it's like to be in a hotel room after doing some sort of publicity thing. And it's not really you doing the publicity, and everybody's very like, there's a kind of energy around doing broadcasty things where it's not easygoing. I mean, it can look easygoing. It's supposed to look easygoing, but really there's like tension. So you don't feel like you can just relax and feel like you're home. And then you go back to a hotel and it's like, where are the lights? Where's my stuff? Oh my gosh, I forgot my stuff that I always use on my teeth or whatever it is. And there's that little sense of alienation. Unfortunately, I get to call home and talk to my loved ones on FaceTime, so that's great. And it's so wonderful to have the technology, but at the same time, then it goes off and there you are by yourself. And recently, on one of these occasions, I decided that I would go to a 12-step group, because I used to go to physical meetings to like drop clients off if they had a gambling addiction or an alcohol problem or whatever. I would sometimes go with people and I would sit with them through a meeting, and it was so welcoming, and everybody was, everybody was welcome. There was no problem. No matter how scummy you may feel about yourself, you were okay in 12 steps. And I had a link that a friend had given me to this really great codependency group. Now, I've never really struggled with an addiction, like drugs or alcohol or gambling or those things, but boy, am I codependent. Oh, boy, Mahana. You won't understand that reference unless you're from Utah. It's not worth talking about, but I thought, okay, I'm going to go to this codependency group and it's going to be so awesome. So I had to work the Zoom on my phone because I didn't have my big computer. And I wasn't really sure how it all worked on my phone, how the Zoom thing went, but I got in and I I made sure that my video was off, and it said my name, but then I made sure that was off. So I thought, and I joined this 12-step group. And it started out, there was a guy in his car, and he was talking about how he'd been there coming for like 2 years, and he was so glad about the group and how great it was. And I was like, ah, this is great. And I was puttering around my hotel room. I was cleaning things up, putting things away. And then the guy finished, and they said, the moderator, whoever it was, came on and said, yeah, if I just want to stop and say, if you're not really here to do the work, if you're here to do research for your company, you need to leave. And I was like, how weird. Why would somebody come to a 12-step group to do research for their company? And I thought, that's weird. And they said, like, if you are not one of us, just know that this group is our group and ours alone. We do not want anyone else. And I was like, that's so strange. Like, who is butting in on them? And I was puttering and puttering, and they said, if we can see your name on our screens, leave. You are not welcome. And I was like, who is bothering these people so badly? And then they said, if you can't at least sit down, if you have to be moving around, puttering around and you won't give that respect of sitting down. And I was like, suddenly I sat down, and I was like, are all my settings right? What did I do? Oh, who has a company that is kind of like codependency therapy? Oh, that would be me. And so I shut it down, and I was just sitting there. And it was like I'd gone into a field of puppies and kittens and then got punched in the face by a cyborg. My guard was so down. I was so like coming to rest in a field of joy and welcoming. And I really think they were talking about me. And I don't know why they didn't think I could just be really super codependent and need help. But that was what happened. And it was extremely disconcerting to me, like more than it should have been. And I was sitting there going, I really don't have any home. Like, I don't connect with my family of origin. I'm always traveling. I mean, I've got my family in my house in Pennsylvania, and it's wonderful, wonderful. But in this world, it doesn't feel like there's just a place I can go and it's my stomping grounds. It's where I grew up. It's where where we were in the, back in the day. I don't have any back in the day time. So I was starting to feel quite codependently sorry for myself. And then I remembered one of my favorite lines from my favorite book, The Tao Te Ching. And it says, the master can travel all day without ever leaving home. I thought, okay. I remember doing this when like I was literally on the run from people that I dearly loved who wanted to hurt me back when I published my second memoir. All right. I can do this. And then I sat down and I was going through some questions for a call I was doing later. And someone had sent in the question, if I keep traveling far enough, if I keep trying hard enough, and I go far enough, will I finally arrive at the place where I feel I belong? And I was thinking about this man's question, and I was empathizing with him, and I was going inside for an answer, and suddenly I just burst out laughing because I realized I could never arrive at the place where I completely belong because I've been there my whole life. I just didn't know it. Because my home is not a place on this earth. This earth is changing constantly. It's not stable. It's not lasting. And we're not stable or lasting. We are, strangers in a strange land. We wander around for a few years and then we're gone, and nothing ever remains stable and rooted and everything. But when I read this man's question and I went looking for the answer, what I did was move into a place that is not a place. I went into a non-place that is more like a state of mind, except it's not mind. I'm not at home in my mind either. As they say in 12-step groups, my mind is a dangerous neighborhood. I never go there alone. Try never to go there alone. But there was a state of being, and somehow as I've worked through the years to help other people come home, I realized that I've been going there to try to bring other people with me. And when I'm doing it for someone else, I can touch that place. And so since this time, this was a few months ago, I've been doing this little visualization, and it has helped me always be home, whether I feel like I'm in my house but a little alienated, or I have to go somewhere else and I really don't want to, or someone has just punched me in the face verbally and said, "You do not belong, go away." um, I can do this little meditation, and I thought, I bet there are some people out there in the gathering room who could really use this. So, the first thing I want you to do is realize how many selves you have had in your life. How there have been so many, there are so within you, so many shards of self that have been homeless, that have been kicked out. You know, maybe there was the part of you that wasn't sweet and chirpy enough for your family of origin, and so she or he got kicked out into Siberia. Maybe there was a part of you that fell in love and didn't get loved in return by the person you loved, and that part is still aching and not able to come home. Maybe there's a time when you always had to work, work, work to pay the bills, and so you left your true self and you stayed in a place you didn't love for hours doing things you didn't love and slowly dying because that certainly wasn't your home. And maybe you've even tried like medicating yourself with different substances that made you feel for a minute like you might be home, and then it didn't work or it didn't last, and once again you were out in the cold. And all of those selves, like, look at the line of these beings. So I start with myself sitting on that hotel bed looking at my phone going, oh my God, they really, really hate me. And then immediately I flashed to a time when I was pregnant with my son. It was the middle of the winter in Cambridge, and I had my 18-month-old, and I'd gone to stay with some friends because there had been a fire in my high-rise apartment and I'd been kicked out of the apartment. My then husband was overseas, and some friends let me stay with them, and they had a baby too. Unfortunately, my baby wasn't able to settle, and so we caused a ruckus, and they asked us to leave. And I went at 3 in the morning. I called a taxi and then went out and sat on the steps because we didn't have cell phones then, and like cuddled my oldest in a very warm, like parka like suit, and kept singing songs and waiting for the taxi to come in this freezing cold middle of the night. Or then I can go to childhood. I mean, pick your poison, you guys. Everyone has times when they've been, even if you've lived in a palace your whole life. I have actually had clients who lived in mansions and palaces and never felt home ever, ever, ever. Because home is a state of heart. It is not a state of mind, and it's definitely not a geographic location. So what I want you to do is, I always push away those parts of myself because I don't want to be playing violins and feeling sorry for myself, right? So instead of, I just go, oh, come on, you were fine. Look at you. You have the most privileged life of anybody in the world. So stop complaining. But instead of that, I'd like you to invite all the homeless ones from your past, all of them. Every frozen moment of feeling cut off, cast out, lost. And I'd like you to invite them to come gather with us right now. So, but they're gathering specifically with you in the room where you are. So all around you now are arrayed the parts of you that never had a home. And your job is to do what I was doing for the gentleman who asked me the question, to find a way to give them a sense of hope, a sense of belonging. So this is an exercise I call from longing to belonging. So you can close your eyes if you want to. I usually close my eyes when I do this. And I want you to imagine yourself in a warm, sunlit, beautiful space. It might be out in nature. It might be a beach for some of you, or it might be a mountain meadow for some of you, or it might be a pasture with horses in it, or it could be a garden in the middle of Paris. It could be any place you want, but it's really, really special for you, and it's very, very comfortable. Okay? So now, as you close your eyes, we're going to, you're teleported along with all your homeless selves to this space. And everybody gets to feel what they're feeling. Every single part of you that's come that feels homeless gets to be absolutely met where they are. There's no criticism. There's no shut up, don't stop your complaining. There's no everything turned out all right at the end. It's just like, yep, you feel homeless and we're going to a good place. And the first thing I'm going to do is create, it's kind of like in the second Star Trek, how they had the holodeck where they could go and create any environment so they could feel like they were on their home planets or whatever. Our imaginations are so powerful that when we go there, when we go to a place, when I go to that hotel room thinking about the 12-step people going, we do not want you, I am there. Like there's part of me that's really there. And when I say, oh, I was sitting on the steps at 3 in the morning in a freezing cold Cambridge winter, boy, part of me is still there. By the same token, when you close your eyes and you go to the most beautiful place you've ever been and you set the temperature and you set the birds singing and you create as many people as you want or don't want, that space is real to the deep parts of your brain. So your neocortex is dreaming all this up like a holodeck, and your amygdala and the deep parts of your brain, the hippocampus, or yes, the hypothalamus, I mean, is they're all responding to this environment that you've created with your mind. And now I want you to imagine that in the center of this place, there sits cross-legged on the ground or the floor an immense being. And it's kind of see-through, but it's very luminous and it's sitting very quietly. And it doesn't move at all, although it's very much alive. And this being is the part of you that has been watching all the various human selves in their homeless wanderings in the earth. It's absolutely still. It's any place you are. It's always watching you and never moves. Now, as I'm talking about this, I'm talking about all the little homeless selves, but I'm also talking to you as a kind of, teacher or director of the others. Or the mom or the dad. And so what I want you to do is go and sit in your mind's eye, sit directly in front of this huge being that represents the compassionate witness part of you. You're going to sit right next to it, and then you're going to imagine yourself backing up slowly, like a baby inching its way across a carpet. And go into the center of this presence, the very, very center. And then I want you to let the presence connect core to core with your body right now. So as you move into alignment with this presence, there's a line that goes from your head to your heart and all the way down to your butt that moves exactly into focus with the being. And it sort of clicks. And now you look out, in your mind's eye, you look and you see all these little presences, these little humans spread out. But you also see all around them, as far as anyone could ever imagine, millions and millions of guides and angels and other beings who are fascinated by the process of this person making these many selves making their way through the world. And they're all gently urging all the lost selves to keep connecting, keep connecting, keep connecting. And as you sit completely aligned with the big, big, big presence of self, you reach out and one by one, you start to bring in the others. And all you say is, you are always welcome here. You are always welcome here. You are always welcome here. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome, honey. Welcome home. And just one by one, they all start to line up with that presence. When I do this, it reminds me of the poem by Rumi called Zero Circle, because it's not real, right? And yet it is. The only reality we ever know is filtered through our perceptions. And when we imagine, we're just using our perception in a different way. And it's so confounding. And Rumi's poem says, be helpless, dumbfounded, unable to say yes or no. Then a stretcher from grace will come from grace to gather us up. Let us not be sure of anything besides ourselves, and only that, so miraculous beings come running to help. Crazed, lying in a zero circle, mute, we shall be saying finally with tremendous eloquence, lead us. When we have totally surrendered to that beauty, we shall be a mighty kindness. That is home. That is where I go when I'm really, really needing a place to stay. And you have it too. And we're all here together. And there are miraculous beings coming running to help. I know that because look at your names. Look at your faces. Here you are. Miraculous beings come running to help each other. I was saying to Ro this today, I'm really tired. I don't think I have anything to offer the peoples. And she said, they're gathering, and it's the gathering that matters. You are a side effect. And I was very glad to know it. So Tracy says it feels like a homecoming every weekend. It certainly does to me, and I'm so glad it does to Tracy. And Kat says, does this explain why when looking back on my 59 years, I honestly cannot remember or understand who I was? I believed things I cannot fathom being now. Like, who was I? I happen to be reading a bunch of different books about multiple selves. One is called Your Symphony of Selves. I haven't finished it yet. I was going to talk about it, but I'll talk about it later. But the idea was, they say, we talk about ourselves as if we are many, and that is actually true. There's no stable, secure, central self. There are all these different beings. They say, if you put your watch down on the table and then you forget where it is, it's because the self that put the watch down is not the self who is looking for the watch. We literally have multiple selves, and all of them are real and should be welcomed and loved. And I was like, okay, well, that certainly corresponds with internal family systems therapy, which I think is great. But the thing I'm missing still is, if there's all selves, what is the real self? Like, if you find out over and over again that a source is not accurate, it doesn't remain the same, then where is the truth? And the answer lies outside the sense of human self. So I actually was reading this book and thinking, but where is myself? Where is myself? And then I remembered this visualization that I do when I'm traveling, and the way it locks in, and then I can see for 1,000 miles. Only I don't just see the world, I see angels and guardians and guides. And I don't think, oh wow, I'm having visions. I just know that my imagination can do that. But that's when I'm home, and that's who I've been all along. Other than that, I'm just gathering the different selves that keep being generated by my experiences, and each one of them is precious. And if I gather it and love it like a jewel that I've bought, that's what I'm here to collect. The part that is really us is here to collect apparent selves from the experience of the world. And I really believe that when we all lock into that great self, there's only one of us all along. That even our apparently different bodies are just manifestations of the same love, the same energy. And I don't mean metaphorically, I mean literally. So I understand why you can't. None of us knows who we are, because these human selves that we take to be real are the least real part of us. This place we take to be home is the least home. I don't know, maybe dark matter and dark energy are the real home and the real self. I just know it's not what we are here, but that we can find it here. Here's a question from Instagram. Back from the Borderline says, I struggle a lot with self-hatred and a raging inner critic, which makes it hard to find a safe home within myself. Any suggestion for trying to find more self-compassion? Absolutely. I find all kinds of angry or upset selves when I do this. And every single one gets the same response. You are absolutely welcome. Anyone who'd been through what you've been through would feel the way you do. I want to understand you. Tell me everything. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not going to desert you. Come on in. And let them rage. When I was listening to a tape by Jack Kornfield, who's a meditation master, and he said, when a bad feeling comes up, just allow it. Allow it completely. Feel it till it kills you, he said. And I loved that, because he said it will only kill off the part of the ego that's so caught in this struggle. And it will kill it because it will feel so loved that it will drop its antagonism and it will disappear. And all that will be left is the part that was never separated from home, never separated from love. We can't arrive back home because we've never, ever left it. It's just that we forget. We get distracted by the things around us and we don't realize we've never left home. Okay, another Instagram question, same, back from the borderline. In your opinion, what impact does childhood emotional neglect have on our ability to find home within ourselves? You know what? It's a good news, bad news thing. You can't just go back to remembering what your mom was like and when she held you on her lap, because maybe she's gone or she's passed away or something. And that's just heartbreaking. However, you've been given the great gift of intense yearning, that you know what it is, you know there's something you want, and the very desperation of your need for it can shape something so perfect and beautiful that when you imagine home, which is the fulfillment of that yearning, it's perfect. And you don't get as stuck looking for it in other people or in places in the world, because you failed to find it there once. So you have to find it somewhere else. It's like you're pushed into a spiritual breakthrough. You're being forced into awakening. And it can be a great spiritual teacher. Lydia says, what do you think about the importance of changing your geographical location? If we can have that state of home internally, then what is the role of physical locations? Currently planning a move and thinking a lot about this. It's so interesting because for me, when I've stayed in the place that is home, I get moved around, not moved emotionally. I get still emotionally, but sometimes I am moved as if by a puppeteer. And that happened when I left Arizona and moved to my ranch in California. It was like, you're going. No argument. And then, I thought, okay, I've come to my place. This is my place. And then 6 years later, it was like going to another place, which I'd already been writing a novel about, like from my imagination. Like part of me knew that I was going to be moved again. And here's the thing, if you resist the spiritual urge to move to a different geographical location, because you think the geographic location is home, then you lose the home that is real. You lose the sense of spirit home. If you go wherever the spirit moves you, quite literally, you're always home. It's only if you struggle against your heart that the place is wrong. When you don't struggle with your heart, your body gets moved where you're meant to be, and you're always home, doesn't matter what stage of the journey you're in. The master can travel all day without ever leaving home. So you're going to be just as home wherever you're going as you have been any place you've been. Ruta says, how to make sense of the horrible things happening to the Ukrainians, so much suffering, torture, cruelty, and death. I hope you guys you folks brought in parts of yourselves that have been through the worst of your life experiences. And I hope that none of you had life experiences as horrific as what so many people in Ukraine and other war-torn regions are experiencing. It is horrible. And that great being that never moves, that is stillness, that is not even the universe, it's the field in which the universe comes into existence. It is right there always with all of us. As soon as those people are forced by their experience to find home in their souls, they will lock in very, very tightly. And for those that, and that doesn't mean that we don't all want to support them and do every single thing we can to make these people feel safe and secure in the geographic world. That goes without saying. But no matter how far you've gone, and I've worked with people who've come out of genocides, even those folks, especially those folks, can find home. If you want to read an amazing book, read Left to Tell by a woman named Immaculée Ilekabiza. She survived the genocide in Rwanda by hiding with 5 other women in a bathroom that was about 3 feet square for 3 months. 3 months, 100 days, while they killed her entire family, and she heard it happening, and they hunted her by name. And the first month, she was so afraid, she decided she'd better learn to conquer all her fear, because there was nothing else to do and it was unbearable. Then she was very angry. She spent another month conquering her anger. And at that point, she said, I felt like the luckiest person in the world. I was completely clear. And she spent the last months trying to teach herself English from one paperback book, and she pretty well did it. And the interesting thing is that she came out of that experience so radiant that when people did try to attack her, and the people who were with her after they left the bathroom, they circled around them saying, we're going to kill you, we're going to kill you. And she just stood there without any fear, without any anger, in the place of home where she'd eradicated everything that was not that spirit, and they couldn't come in, they couldn't hurt her. So I'm not saying that that's a solution. I'm just saying that even when suffering is unfathomable, there are people who live through it and come out radiant. So God bless the Ukrainians, my God. Okay, a couple more questions. Instagram from August. I'm in the process of moving as we speak. I've had a life of many moves, and although this is a very healthy move, it's bringing up the homeless feeling big time. Is there a way to calm the inner critic that I'm in, even in this thought pattern, enough to allow my compassionate self to really help? Thank you so much. All you have to do is say, critic, I understand you're trying to help. I really love you. Thank you so much. There is nothing about you that is wrong, including the inner critic. Home is where when you go there, they have to take you in. They don't have to. They just always do. The critic gets to come in. Of course you're trying to shut up the little kid. She doesn't know what to do, and you're anxious to help her, and you don't know what to do either. It's okay. Come on in. And come on in, homeless girl. Come on in, homeless adult. Come on in, angry critic. Come on in, all of you, all of you, all of you. Now look, boom. When we totally surrender to what's happening to us, all around, miraculous beings come running to help. And I tell you, you spend enough time with them, they start to feel pretty real. You're doing the right things, and it is all 100% okay. Elaine says, sorry I missed the beginning. When I was younger, I would feel a strange homesickness feeling at random times, but I wasn't homesick for anyone or anything when the feeling would wash over me. Still happens sometimes. Is this a homesickness for spirit? I totally identify with this, and I absolutely believe it is. And it's when you let that yearning create the shape of the home you imagine that you begin to create with the human mind an echo of what the soul already knows. And I do believe that's why we're here in this incarnation. So use this exercise of moving into the true self and welcoming the homeless ones, and see if that doesn't fulfill it. And then you guys, then you find home emerging around you in the three-dimensional world as well. Two more questions. Heather says, do you have thoughts on many huge, surprising challenges, one after another? Unexpected death of a parent, then 2 serious health issues or scares following that. Always, always, always. Carolyn Mace tells a story of a man who lost his marriage, his company, and his car got stolen all on the same day. And he sat down after losing all these things and he said, I smell God. Because only some divine force could line up that much bad luck. And what she was saying was, it's something saying, you're here to wake up. We're not going to let you relax. We're going to push you to that mute, dumbfounded zero circle where you have nothing left, because then you see that miraculous beings are coming running to help, and then you become the mighty kindness. That's when it all gets good. So good luck with this. And finally, Jennifer says, how do I reframe the old thought I have that home and or my true self will only appear if I earn it, if I'm doing what I should? I try to welcome other selves, but it seems like they're all coming together to the principal's office. Well, to the part of you, Jennifer, that thinks that she has to earn things, I say you get to come too. You're probably not very old. You're probably like 10 or 11 years old. You're probably afraid of the principal's office. And to the principal inside your head, I would say, you come on too. You're just struggling to try to make the others feel good. It's all good. It's all good. Bring them home without earning it. And keep telling them that there's nothing to be earned. That what you are and the selves you've sent out into the world have always, always, always been at home. And the moment that we die, I think more than any other time, we're going to have this amazing sense that, oh, I was home the entire time. It's just that now I can see it better. So thank you for joining with me. Thank you for being the miraculous beings that always come running to help. And like feel the home we create together. When we all moved into that visualization, I felt something very, very intense. So I know a lot of you were doing something powerful, and I would really invite you to go do it again, because all of us are homeless, wandering in a strange land, and all of us are already always home. I love you guys. Thank you so much for showing up and being here with me. I talk to you soon. Bye.